guys, what is going on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Now, of course, I know some of you might be sad, but pack week is finally over. It has come to an end. I hope you enjoyed the journey, and I have to say, it was a pretty expensive week. I opened 6 million cash worth of packs, as well as some ceramic, as well as some carbon fibers as well. But I have to say, I hope you guys enjoyed pack week. I did. It was great. Just a whole week of pack openings, and we did not go any lower than an epic in any of the videos, so that was really good. But with that said, normalcy is returned. We are going to return to our beloved series, and the first one that I want to do is actually the Yellowbird Road to the Yellowbird series. So if you guys haven't found out, the first episode was the Guide to California, USA, which is arguably the easiest. Ironically for me, it was the one I lost the most in, just because I was, overconfident. But yeah, we started off with California, USA, and the most requested country from California, USA was actually Hampshire in the UK. So guys, if you want to know what the next country is going to be, comment down below what country you want to see next, and I will do the most requested country, or the country with the most likes, basically. So if you guys want to see Germany next, then just make sure that that's the most requested one, has the most likes. I'll do Germany next. If not, if you want me to do Japan or Italy. France is going to be a bit tricky, because for all the championship levels, I still have the cars that I used to win every level. Besides France, I actually sold some, but with that said, I will still make a video on France. I'll just need to get those cars again. But yeah, with that said, today we're gonna get into Hampshire, UK for the Yellowbird tutorial guide. How it's gonna work, well, I'm gonna explain in a bit. So here guys, if you did not see the first episode of my Yellowbird guide, or the ultimate Yellowbird guide as I like to call it, because I actually finished the damn thing, what did I say, like Dan? Did I say Dan like a name? I don't know why. But yeah, how it's gonna work is, we're gonna see a series of pictures, 10 pictures just like this, and what I'm gonna do is, in the top, you're gonna see the requirements, what you need, the RQs, all that kind of stuff, the prizes. The second over here is gonna be your opponent, and lastly, the last picture is going to be the hand that I personally use or recommend. Now, a couple things that I wanted to utilize. Why can I can't speak today? But a couple things I want to mention, I guess, is that I'm going to try and recycle cars as much as I can. I did the same for California, USA, which means you might see this Lotus again, you might see this Lotus again, or you might see this Vauxhall Chevette again. Well, not might, you will. Just, in a way of me doing this is a way for you to save resources, save cash, and also just a way for you to look out for key cars that you can use multiple times in an event, making, your process or journey a bit more efficient and, less resource consuming, I guess. So with that said, let's get into level 1. It's UK cars times 5, and unlike the US where it starts off with like 3 US cars, or 2 even, for the UK it's 5 times UK cars across the board. It's 3 rares and an RQ limit of 200. So this is the hand that you're going against. There's a Puma, a couple other Fords, the MG over here, I believe that's an MG as well, I think, and then another Ford. The hand I used was, of course, this Lotus, the TVR Timar, the Lotus, what is it called? Europa, right? The Lotus Europa, and then I have another, I think that's a Rover, as well as the Vauxhall Chevette. Now, you're going to see a lot of these cars again. Now, bear in mind, when it comes to the UK, there's no off-road track sets. In the US, we saw some mixed, some dirt, but in the UK, no. It's all asphalt, but what you need to focus on in the UK is city streets. There's a lot of medium ground clearance cars that you will need, and there's also some standard tire cars that you will need because there is a lot of rain. So with that said, that is level 1. Level 2, as you can see, we are actually staying with the Lotus and the Chevette in the same positions. Now for level 2 is UK cars times 5, rare performance times 4, and RQ 200. In fact, we're actually going with 3 of the same cars. We have the Elise Cup, Elise Europa Cup, Lotus Europa Cup Twin Cam. It's called the Twin Cam. That's what it's called. Lotus Twin Cam. We have this orange Lotus. Now, as you can tell from the American video, I knew all the names, and that's because I knew the American cars. I don't know a lot of these British cars that well, right? Besides Aston Martin, my thought process is just out the window, really. Imagine the French ones. Oh my god. Clio RS? Clio RS VJ. I don't know. But yeah, so we got this Lotus, and then we have the Caterham 170, I think it's called, that we're gonna be using actually for the hill climb. Don't worry, that will pass. And then next we're gonna use the DB4 Zagato, the Lotus Twin Cam, and then the Chevette. Now this Aston Martin DB4, we're gonna see it a couple times, so this is a car that I would definitely recommend. Obviously for the 0 to 100, there's so many cars that can get the job done, right? You don't need the DB4. You could use the Aston Martin Virage, or what else is the other? What else is a good option? With the E-Type, the E-Type would beat it actually, because the E-Type, if you max it out, it hits about 5.60 to 60. Bear in mind, all these cars that I'm showing you right here, these are my own, right? These are my personal cars. They're all maxed out, right? The DB4 here, I think, if I remember correctly, that's actually 323, but I'm not too sure. But 323, 233, or 322, regardless, will beat this Jaguar on the 0 to 100. So moving on to level 3, we have UK cars times 5, rare performance times 5, so it's rare across the board. And as you can see, I'm recycling 3 of the same cars yet again: the Chevette, the Lotus, as well as the DB4. DB4 once again on the drag, because you know that's the speciality of that car. That's amazing MRA. The Chevette is a good one as well. The Vauxhall Chevette is actually a really good car because it has 91 handling and it's also medium, so it's very useful for the UK championships, or the UK championships, that's what it's called. It's been a while since I've actually played championships now, so I'm starting to forget. But yes, another car that is very useful would be this Ford Focus. I think it might be a Fiesta. I don't know British Fords very well. I can tell you all the different Mustangs, but when it comes to the Ford Focuses and Fiestas and the RS and the S and the it's a blank. But yeah, that's actually, this Ford that you see right here is also a really good option. But personally for me, when I was going through the UK championships, I couldn't get that car to save my life. But fortunately, I did get the Vauxhall Chevette, and it does the job just fine. So if you can't get the Ford, you have the Chevette. If you can't get the Chevette, you have the Ford. If you don't have neither, you're in trouble, because that car is pretty essential on the G-Force. There are not a lot of British cars that go over 90 handling on the G-Force, right? Now, technically, I think you could use this orange Lotus on the G-Force as well. But personally, I like to look at the stats on paper, just to make myself feel more confident about what I'm going to use. And personally, when I see 91 on the Chevette and 90 on the Ford, I feel a lot more at ease if I was going to put an 87 and a 90 on the G-Force. Now, moving on for slalom, we're using the Caterham once again. That will be fine, don't worry about it. 5.6, I think that is... Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You can use the Caterham. I know it's 5677 to 6688, but the Caterham is super light. And also, Mousetrap, who I was using this image from with the opponents, because I couldn't look at them myself, because you need Renault to actually get in to see the opponents. He used the Caterham himself. And then obviously I'm using 2 of those Lotuses, one on the karting, one on the quarter mile. Now, these Lotuses, the orange one here, I think it's called, it's not the 135. The 135 is the Ultra. I don't know what that Lotus model's name is, even though I've had it in my garage for literally forever. It's a great car to have. It's one of those cars where you want 2 or 3 maxed out of, because not only is it going to help you in championships, as you see here, it's a really good car for clubs, and also a good RQ saver for multiplayer events where this car is called. It's convertible, it's British, Lotus, you know, it ticks a couple boxes for sure. Now, moving on to level 4, it's UK cars times 5. Now you're going to need to put some super rares in it, 2 super rares and 2 35s. And this is where you see the city streets coming in. Like I said, the UK, a lot of city streets, a lot of rain, right? So 3 city streets here, city streets medium, small, and medium. And then we have a twisty and a testable. Once again, we are recycling the Lotus, recycling the Vauxhall Chevette, and recycling the DB4 Zagato. Now we see 2 new newcomers. First one is this Vauxhall Astra, which is a great car maxed out. It has a low 0 to 60. It has weak handling for a hot hatch maxed out, but it does get the job done. Do not worry about it, because it has strong 0 to 60. The Rover as well. Now this one's an exception. I don't want to use prize cars when I make these videos. The problem is I used a prize car, and I don't have a substitute in my garage to show you. But if you do not have this Rover, do not fear, because there are other cars you can use, such as another Vauxhall, which I like to call the Mike Wazowski car. It used to be RQ-17. If you don't know what that car is, just go into Vauxhall. It's literally the green one, the green Super Rare. There are a bunch of other cars as well. You can get the Ford Focus Super Chips. I think there's another Ford you can get. Basically, any medium ground clearance British hatchback will get the job done as long as you max it out, right? That's gonna work. But personally, for me, I use that Rover and the Astra. I would recommend that Astra. It's a very good car, and it got me through a lot of levels, and I'm gonna be using this in a lot of the levels that you're gonna see here. Obviously, guys, once again, I have to say, these cars are not set in stone, right? These are my recommendations. These are things that I know will get the job done. Obviously, if you can't get some of these cars, let's say you open 100 British premiums and you can't get that Astra, fear not. Like I said, there are a lot of replacements that you can go for, like the Mike Wazowski car or the Super Chips or whatever the other Focus renditions are in the game. Definitely these aren't the only ones. However, if there are niche races like this one where I said only this Ford or the Chevette will make the cut, I will point it out as well. So moving on to level 5 here, it's UK cars times 5, Super Rare times 3, RQ of 250, and as you can see here, once again you see some rain, actually just one rain, and then 2 city streets. So once again, I'm recycling the same city streets car, the Astra and the Rover. This is the Mike Wazowski Vauxhall I was talking about, by the way. So if you don't have the Rover, if you can't get the Rover, fear not, just get that Mike Wazowski Vauxhall. That will work just fine. You could even get this Ford Fiesta. I think this is a Fiesta. This one will work just fine too, as long as you max it out. So moving on for the fast circuit, we do see an introduction of 2 new cars. That is the Lotus Elise Sprint, as well as the Vauxhall, the Jaguar, the XJR, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, the Jaguar, the slick tire one that hits 97 handling. That car is amazing MRA as well. What brings this car down is it's really heavy, but once again, this is a fast circuit, so that doesn't matter that too much. So once again, recycling 3 cars, the Caterham, the Vauxhall, and the Rover. In your case, if you don't have the Rover, Mike Wazowski. And then 2 new additions, which is the Sprint as well as the Jag. These are 2 cars that I would highly recommend you to get for the championships in the UK. And these are also good cars, not only for championships, but for clubs, for multiplayer events. Once again, the cars that I'm recommending to you guys are really, really versatile, and I use them, or I tend to use them quite a bit as well. So definitely can't go wrong with the Sprint or the Jag. So moving on to level 6 now, we have UK cars times 5, Super Rare times 4. Once again, a bit of the same. We're using the same Sprint, the same Jag, but now we're adding in a few newcomers. We have the Lotus 340R. Once again, if you don't have the 340R, don't worry about it. Just use the Lotus 135, which is the Lotus right here, which is what the opponent is having. You should have that because you can get it from the campaign. But yeah, if you don't have the 340R, fear not. You can use the 135 or even the Caterham. I think it's the 360. For the hill climb, I'm using the D-Type. Now, the D-Type, I would definitely recommend. My D-Type is 323, but if you have a 332 D-Type, that will work as well. I'm going to use the D-Type multiple times here in this guide. And as you guys know, I love the D-Type, owning 17 of them in my garage. It's such a great car. Although it doesn't have great MRA, that amazing 0 to 60 that it has speaks for itself, truly. And then last thing is we have a new Lotus here, the RQ41. I think this is a one car wonder. That's only because we need to use Super Rares, right? We need to use Super Rares, and you know, we just need a car that beats the fast circuit. Honestly, you could use another one. You don't need to use that Lotus per se. If you have an Aston Martin V8 Vantage, Aston Martin DB7, Aston Martin V8, those are all going to work as well. But personally, I'm just using that Lotus. That one, there's a lot you can use. I mean, it's a Caterham on the fast circuit. There's so many Super Rares that can beat that. So that one's a pretty open spot for you guys to choose. But I went with that Lotus. Now moving on to level 7 is UK times 5, Super Rare times 5. So all Super Rares across the board. Once again, we are seeing 4 of the same cars recycled. The Sprint, the Astra. I think this is an Astra. I've been calling it an Astra. If it's not an Astra, I do apologize. The D-Type as well as the Rover. And once again, if you don't have the Rover, you can use Mike Wazowski. And here, this is the Super Chips that I was talking about. So if you don't have Mike Wazowski, if you don't have the Rover, if you don't have the Astra, you can use super chips. But once again, you will need multiple medium cars for the UK. So don't just think, oh, I have one Mike Wazowski, I'll be fine, I'll get through. No, you'll need at least 3 medium ground clearance British cars, and they tend to be hot hatches, so basically 3 British hot hatches, right? And then the newcomer right here is this Opel. No, it's not an Opel, it's what is it called? Vauxhall thingy. It's a Vauxhall thingy. That's exactly what it is. I did have the filter on for the UK, so I know that's not an Opel. That's definitely a Vauxhall. And I'm using it for car park. I will be using this Opel a couple more times. Vauxhall! Yeah! I'll be using this Vauxhall a couple more times as well as we move on with the later levels. So, moving on to level 8, this is where we get to see the introduction of more super rare times 5. Super rare times 5. Super rare times 5. Okay, I did a little bit of a mistake here. I do apologize. I used the wrong picture for this. So obviously here it says super rare times 5, but for level 8, it will be UK cars times 5. Ultra rare times 1. I do apologize. I used the wrong picture for that. I just realized. But don't worry, the hands and the opponents are still the same. So this is what you're going to be going up against. Once again, recycling a couple cars. The Jag, the D-Type, the Sprint. Now I'm bringing in the Lotus Elise 135. Obviously, you don't need to use the Elise. You can use the 340R or the Caterham 360 if you have those. But I have to say, it is key to own either one of the 3, if not have all 3, which is the Lotus 340R, the Lotus Elise 135, and finally the Caterham 360. Everyone should have the 135 though. Hopefully you did not sell yours from the campaign, because you win that car from the campaign and it will be a great servant for the rest of your Top Drives career. And then finally for the 1 mile, I'm currently using this TVR Tuscan. Once again, so many more substitutes. You just need to find a 1 mile car that can beat that Jag that has a lower 0 to 60 and better MRA, or the same MRA. This Jag right here in the 1 mile, it's a bit of a sleeper, just to let you guys know. So some cars that would beat it would be the Jaguar F-Type if you have that maxed, the Ford RS200, the Tuscan, the Timora. A lot of options that you can choose from, but definitely realize that this is a 1 mile. So although the 340R, the Lotus 135 has a low 0 to 60, it will lose to that Jag. So look for a car that has a similar 0 to 60 as that Jag. And probably better MRA, right? Why I'm only mentioning this is because the TVR Tuscan that I'm using might be pretty hard for some of you to find. So once again, like I said, a lot of substitutes that you can use. Finally, for the test bowl, that Jag D-Type will get the job done just nicely. So now moving on to level 9, it's going to be UK 5 Ultra Rare times 2, and as you can see here, I'm using that Vauxhall once again. This thing right here, I do love it. 86 handling, 6 seconds 0 to 60 standard, as well as medium ground clearance. I do use it quite a bit, using it on the twisties once again. I'm recycling once again the Elise 135, the Tuscan, as well as the D-Type. The D-Type we're actually going to be using quite a bit. And then finally, this is going to be a hard one. Level 9 is a bit tricky because there are very few cars that could beat the Caterham 420. I think that's a 420. It might not be a 420, but that ultra rare Caterham, there are very few cars that can beat that ultra rare Caterham on a twisty wet. So unfortunately, if you guys have any other answers, if you know that there's another ultra rare or super rare that can beat that Caterham on the twisty, do let me know down in the comments below. But personally, for me, if I were you, if I wanted to play it safe, just get yourself that ultra, right? If you don't have it, go to a different country and wait it out until you do, because this is a pretty essential one. It's kind of like the Subaru Legacy in the Japan Championships. You need the Legacy, and you kind of need this Caterham to pass level 9. Once again, if you have any other answers, if you know of any other car that will beat this Caterham on the twisty, do let me know. But for what I know, that Caterham is pretty insane, so you're gonna need that. Finally, moving on to level 10, the last level for Hampshire in the UK. This is what I'm using. We bring back the 135, we bring back the 340R, and we're bringing back the D-Type with some 2 new cars. We are using the DB3S just because I wanted to give some love to Aston Martin, so I had to put an Aston Martin in the video, as well as the Caterham 420. So for the fast circuit, obviously I'm using the DB3S. You don't need to use the DB3S, right? You could use the same TVR Tuscan or the RS200 as long as you have it maxed out, or you could even mirror, right? There's always the option. You can always mirror. You could always use the TVRs that the opponent is using as well. Now, why I wanted to use the Caterham for G-Force, once again, you don't need to use this Caterham for the G-Force. You could just use your Lotus Elise 135, or, you know, you'll definitely need a couple twisty cars, but once again, this is just a good opportunity for me to show you that these are 3 key cars that you will need going forward, not only for UK championships, but just for UK events as a whole, and UK events in clubs and on multiplayer, everything. Kind of like the holy trinity of this is the OG holy trinity of British twisty cars. You have the Lotus 340R, the Caterham 420 or the 360 numbers, and then the Lotus Elise 135. Obviously with GE, there are a couple new boys now, with the Vauxhalls coming in with some pretty nice looking cars, and of course that Ariel Atom Ultra Rare. Those cars will all do the job as well, but I don't own them, so definitely these cars are ones that you guys could look out for. But with that said, those are all the levels, so let's get back into my Top Drives account. Alright guys, so here we are. Almost dropped my phone. Here we are back in my account. So that is Hampshire, UK. That is the guide. Once again, I hope this helped you, and I really hope that you would progress through this as quickly and, well, most importantly, as efficiently as possible. Nobody likes to lose a race in the championships. So hopefully this guide will help you and make your journey a little easier. Once again, for the next country, and obviously I've already done the US. If you want to check that out, I'll have the link in the description below. But once again, if you want to decide what the next country is going to be, I'll be looking at the comments. So the most popular country will be the next one that I'm going to do. But with that said, I hope you guys have a great day. Remember to wash your hands, stay safe, and once again, I do have a Patreon page now. So if you do want to support my channel and go that extra mile, I'll have the link in the description as well. But shout out to a lot of the people that have already signed up. In fact, my highest tier Patreon tier is already sold out. So that's just absolutely amazing. So anyway, hope you guys have a great day. Remember to wash your hands, and I'll see you all next time. Blossom out.